Well, good morning. Here we are with another episode of Party Shop Shenanigans. Going to work on Mickey today. Got a handful of things want to get done. I've got ace cameraman Austin is going to be behind the camera and probably going to get him in front of the camera a little bit later as well. He's an aspiring welder, and I think he's going to save my bacon with some of the work we need to do here on Mickey. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the problem with these hinges for the door that cause it to not close properly. It's sprung, it's in terrible condition. But before we can do anything, we're going to have to pull the fender, pull the door, straighten some hinges, get that all aligned, put the door back on, then we can get to the striker. In other words, we have a lot to do. So stick around and let's see if we can have some fun. Okay, for those of you who have been following this, it's a 1989 Comanche pickup, affectionately referred to as Mickey. That's because in the first video we did on it, there was a mouse in the air cleaner. I narrowly escaped death fighting that vicious creature off. If you look at the door, it's obviously in real bad shape here. We can see from this gap here how low it is. We can see from this gap here how tight and crammed up it is. We can see this is all pushed up into the fender and all this damage that's been done over time as someone's opened and closed and kind of forced it through. It won't latch without extreme prejudice, which means over time what has happened is this striker had been stressed too much and broke off. I'm not sure why this is discolored, whether someone used a plasma cutter or something to cut the old piece out and then just screw that in. We're going to resolve that. But what we can see is over here, what's been missing is this limiting strap. Now the limiting strap is what keeps the door from opening too far. It limits it so that you don't put stress on these hinges. Many cars, the hinge is bolted to the body and bolted to the door so you can unbolt them. The Cherokees and the Comanches, what they did is they actually welded the one half of the hinge right to the unibody. Well, as you can see here, this has been stressed too far. And what we can also see, might not be able to see really well, is how the door and the door skin are separating here because this has been stressed too much over time. So we're going to find a way to get into here. The natural something for most people to pull a door is they're going to take their wrench and they're going to come in this way and they're going to take everything loose. Well, we can probably get away with that on this project because the door is opened too far. Look at how far open it is. See, don't you wish it worked that way normally? Well, because it does not have a limiting strap on it, which I'm reaching for right now, that's this little guy that goes into the door and then connects up here. I've got it backwards. Connects up here. Without this door has opened too far and been hyperextended and caused this damage. Normally it would only open about this far tops, but we can see how big a problem this is. So I think we might be able to simplify a little bit today. I thought we'd be pulling off the fender first. We might pull off the fender second. I don't know. We'll just have to see what comes of it. What do you think, Austin? Think we'll make it work?
Yeah.
Okay. He's the optimist. I love it. Stick around. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to show you what's going on here when I'm talking about limiting strap and all that. Now this Jeep also, it's got a limiting strap back here, but the pin is missing. So I'm going to replace that. But what you can see is, I'm going to have Austin put the wrench in here shortly. But actually, why don't you climb right up in there, dude? I'll bet it'll give a little better space. Okay, under normal circumstances, okay, Austin, go ahead and put your wrench on one of those. Okay, see how tight that is? Yeah, now can you get to that the forward screw, see clear up next to the hinge? You can't get your wrench in there, can you? How about down on the bottom? Right, okay. So I can guarantee, because I've done this, that when you try to pull a door off from this position, you will develop a whole new language, and most of it is probably not family friendly. But what you will see is, see these holes in the hinge here? And then down below there's holes in the hinge. Watch your fingers, I'm going to close this for a minute. If this door is closed, then you can access right through those holes, those bolts that are so hard to get to. Obviously, to do that, you need to remove the fender. So we're going to step through how to do that and hopefully take some of the mystery out of it for the rest of you. Austin, let's go make it happen. Okay, so what does it take to pull the fender off? Interestingly, the first thing you have to do, you have to get this header removed and pulled out so that you can get to, there's either 2 or 3 bolts or nuts this way, so the fender will come away from everything. And then you've got these, I think this is a T27 Torx bit. And then you've got, this probably won't show very well. Oh, there we go. We've got 2 more of those T27s down here. And you will have, if you can see this guy back here. Is it just the one? I think it's just the one. Anyway, that's what has to happen, but to get to it is also going to require to pull this header off. You see Austin's working on it now. You've got 4 nuts here to take loose so that this comes loose from this bracket. This way this header can move out. We also have to pull off the marker lens and the, we'll call it a beauty ring here, so that we can get to the bolts that hold this header on. So that's what we're going to get after. Okay, never an easy task, was it?
No.
Grr. All right, so here's the scoop. You've got more holding this fender in place than what I had remembered. Obviously, we have, the header was pretty easy. There's just 4 nuts and then these nuts across the top here, and this assembly lifts out. I still have the headlight harness hooked up, so this is just sitting here, kind of out of our way. Now, this guy is in the way from pulling your fender. Down below here, you can see this guy. There's a bolt that holds it in place. And then up underneath, in the wheel well, is the plastic that's all attached to the backside of these. So, Austin, let's lift this out kind of slow and careful. Back your way. There now. So part of our challenge is, these bolts typically always snap just like this. They'll snap off. This is what's holding the flare to the fender. Well, the inner fender, the plastic that goes here, that's also attached to it. So in theory, you're supposed to take each of these loose before you pull it out. I stopped because we were breaking those. In a different episode, I'll show you how we fix them. But in the back here is the inner fender well. And of course, we've got some tears in that, but we'll work on that later. But wasn't as easy as we hoped it was. No, it was not, but that's okay. Go ahead, and if you would, Austin, go ahead and put the fender in the back of the pickup. Yep, just like that. And now we can put it with the paint side up, lay it flat on the other side, just like you're doing. There you go. Perfect, dude. Perfect. Even though it's not a perfect fender by any stretch, we're going to try to reuse it. Okay, another one of our challenges was that this tab was bent in so far that we couldn't get to it with the door open or the door closed, and the fender is actually attached to that. We have some work to do here, but if you take a look at where these bolts are that hold the door to the hinge, see if you can pull that closed, dude. Get your leg out of the way and pull it super hard. Okay, now you can see we can get to these to break these loose, get to these to break these loose. So that's what we're going to do next. Well, we got this dirty booger out. Even with the supposedly simpler layout of coming in through here to break these loose, we still almost made up a new language. So you'll see on the newer Cherokees, you can buy a pin kit. The structure of the hinge is different. These have a roll pin in here. So I'm not too worried about the slack in here. But what I am worried about is you can see with this big gap right here, you can see where this piece is pulled away from the body, right? See how that's pulled away there? And down below, this one is also. It's pulled away. So what we have to do is we're going to grind and clean some of this stuff up and wire wheel it and get it cleaned up on both sides. We'll do the same thing for this hinge here and also on the back side here. We want to get this cleaned up. And then I'm going to have to take a hammer and going to have to readjust this because this needs to come in closer to be lined up with the body, not sticking out like it is. So that's our next step. We'll get the wire wheel out, do some cleaning, and get ready to go to the next step. Okay, so I have my ace welder here, Austin.
Hello.
Okay, he's charging me $349 an hour. No, that sounds good. Austin is a friend of mine from church, and he's been learning how to weld. And so I thought, man, good. I could get me an expert here working on this little project. Now, what we've got going on here is Austin has ground this all down and wire wheeled it. And if you get in real close here, you can see this crack right here. And then there's another under here, this crack right here. What we had to do is we took a hammer and we had to beat this in so that this surface was parallel with this surface. So we've got things lined up looking a whole lot better now, top and bottom. And what Austin is going to do now is he's just going to do some spot welds starting right up here on this crack, dude. And you're going to work your way down till you fill that crack. And then come underneath here and start down here and work your way up till you fill that crack. When you're done with that, we'll clean it all up and we'll see what else we want to do to reinforce this hinge, okay? So without any further ado, we're going to get it, dude. Bada bing, bada boom. Sounds great. Just tap it against the side of the truck. It'll break that little bead loose usually. Sideways, tap, tap.
I need one more up here.
Yep, looking good. Just like that, those nice short little bursts like that where you can see it fill in. And when you follow it, when you start doing a bunch of those, you can see that color, the red and the orange.
It'll start.
Yep, and you can start following, you kind of see it'll glow up, down, glow up. You get a rhythm with it. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, it's so hard to find something good to point with because I got these big old grubby fingers. So we'll use this bottom corner of this as my pointing place, okay? So go ahead and see this little spot here.
Fill that in.
Fill that in. Fill that in, okay? And then fill here to here. Zoop, zoop, zoop. You follow me? Okay. So you're gonna want to, I would do kind of an arc, kind of go arc shape, because you're starting on your thickest metal then. Yep, arc shape, arc shape, arc shape. And what you want to do is back to about this weld, is go ahead and connect this to this, where this seam is. Zip, zip.
Because then when you have a problem, it's going to be this metal that breaks.
Correct.
Which is a lot.
And since there's two layers here this way, it's got more strength. Okay. Yeah, buddy, you're doing that great. You getting sparks in your hair? I hate it when that happens. Okay, let's take a look and see what the man did here. Got that all laid in there. Got the bottom all buttoned up. Did that on the bottom. We had just on the leading edge, we had some areas of concern. Got that. And how's it look over here from the front? There you go. We are much better than we started out with. Got things lined up where they need to be, and all for the small price of $349. Austin will come and take care of your hinges also. Ha! Okay, what? Carry on. Since you don't have a mic, nobody could hear you. That's okay. He just gave you the winning lottery numbers for the mega ball for next week. Hey, shout out to Austin. Thank you, buddy, for coming and helping me today. We managed to get the front fender off, the door off, made up probably a few new interesting adjectives getting this silly door off because it was a bear. We got these hinges that were being torn away straightened up against the body where they're supposed to be. Austin welded these all up. They're all reinforced now. Life balance restored. Probably a little warm still, isn't it? If you really hang on to it, it will be. That's going to do it for today. Thanks for joining us here at Party Shop Shenanigans. By the way, hey, check out the matching swag, huh? Kind of nice, huh? Party Shop Shenanigans. Thank you, Aaron. I think I owe you money now. Join us here on the regular. Hit subscribe, hit like, hit notifications, and you know what? Leave a comment or 10. Austin and I could use your feedback. You go out and make somebody smile today, you both deserve it. Bob out.